On today's episode, I'm going to reveal to you many things that you can look for when watching the Seattle Kraken so you can enjoy them even if they aren't very good.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up? What's going on? I'm your host, Zane Begg, and I'm a Seattle-based journalist covering the Seattle Supersonics, Torrent, and Kraken, and welcome to Locked On Kraken. Today, we're going to be optimistic because we need to be optimistic sometimes, and the team is where they are in the standings and where they are with the draft, and we've been talking about that, but the sun is out, the mountain's out, the sun is shining, people are in town for the World Cup, and it's time to just throw a little bit of sunshine on this franchise. And yesterday, I mentioned how it is important to take joy in the process itself because the result, only one team ever wins a championship in any given year. And if that is the only way you can enjoy a team and be happy, you're just going to not be set up for long-term happiness following a sports team. And it's just, you develop these unhealthy relationships. And so what we're going to do, we're going to put some sunshine on this. And I'm going to tell you why I will continue to love this team and continue to cover this team and follow this team. And there are a lot of reasons. So first of all, let's talk about when you consume a Kraken broadcast, what you are getting is you are getting the best broadcast in the game. And I do not say that lightly. And it's not something that I say cavalierly or without research. It's also pretty obvious. John Forsland, the play-by-play announcer, is considered by many to be one of the absolute best in the business. He was doing national broadcasts for Amazon Prime in Canada, which is why he wasn't doing Monday broadcasts last season for the Kraken, because he was doing this for all of Canada. And then, the Canadians were like, wow, this guy's great. He was really, really popular. He also does broadcasts for TNT. He does national radio broadcasts. And he is a long time someone who has been considered one of the absolute GOATs. In my opinion, for about 20 years, I've felt that he is the actual GOAT for hockey announcers. I don't think I haven't heard anyone better. I've heard people who are maybe comparable, but not better. And the Kraken, when the Hurricanes, when they were bought by Tom Dundon, they said, you know what, we're going to lowball John Forsland, and then he ended up here instead. And that's how he ended up in Seattle. He is a national level broadcaster. And he does national broadcasts. He does TNT broadcasts, does playoff games. He also does them with Eddie Olczyk, who is the main color guy for the Olympics this year. He and John Forsland, they do, I don't know, depending on Edzo's health. He doesn't do every game, but he does a lot of games with John. And Edzo is one of the best commentators in the business. He's so smart and he's so detailed, and his eyesight's just ridiculous. Like something will happen, and then he'll be like, "Oh, John, look at this," and it's like such a difficult thing to see in real time. And he can just catch these things. He is so sharp. But then the thing that really sells the broadcast is, especially with the local ones on TNT, there's some, but on the local broadcast, the banter between John and Edzo, and then also JT Brown, which we'll talk about in a moment, it's a comedy show. But the thing is, what they can do is, when there's hockey to be called, when there's things going on, when there is actual hockey happening, and there's, it's a close game and they're important things, they lock in and they deliver what should happen in a quality hockey broadcast. They're explaining what's happening, explaining why it's happening. They're explaining how it fits into the narrative of what's going on. They're giving you all the relevant context. But then also there's times where they just kind of go off the rails, but in a really funny and entertaining way. But it doesn't take away from the broadcast, because when it comes to it, they can lock back in and they can get real serious, and they can call Olympic gold medal games and playoff games and high level games, and they can switch gears, and the end result is you end up with just an absolutely dynamite commentary booth. JT Brown, who is super underrated, he was he had no broadcast experience when he retired as a player, and then joined the Kraken broadcast team in 2021. And he's just gotten better every year. And he and John Forsland have good chemistry, but when it's the three of them with John and Edzo and JT, I think it's really great. Like there's real magic happening. The studio, Allison Lucan is the best analyst in the game, and she is the lead analyst for the TV broadcast. And if you look, like it was so infuriating watching ESPN, and ESPN is supposed to be the gold standard, the worldwide leader in sports. And I remember before they got the contract, this most recent contract in 21, when they had hockey in the 90s and the early aughts, they were as good as they got. They had such a love and care and dedication to hockey. Like when Mario Lemieux unretired, he just came out of retirement, and it was this huge deal. He was a huge megastar who retired early because of injuries, and he came back. And it was a crazy story because he also bought the team, and so he's like the owner and CEO, and now the starting center for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it was such a big deal that ESPN preempted all of their programming for like the next 3 or 4 Penguins games, and they're just like showing hockey every night. And then this year, I think it hit a real low. They made a lot of jokes about how, hey, look, we can't even pronounce Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and they're like, Ukko-Pekka, Ukko, and they're like, I don't know, and like it became a joke about like how ignorant they are about how to pronounce a hockey player's name, which is even a hard name to pronounce, by the way. And it's just like, oh, look at us, we're dumb, we don't know hockey, and there's just no respect. And it's just like part of a portfolio of Disney, and they're like, oh, look, we have hockey, and I think that the seriousness with which ESPN treats the sport is not fitting for the quality of the sport itself, because hockey is incredible, and ESPN really doesn't do it justice, but the Kraken TV broadcast does. And then they bring in, instead of making jokes about how they don't know how to pronounce the name of a player, they're showing like actual meaningful stats. They teach people about expected goal share and shot quality and shot quantity, but it's presented in an easy, understandable way by Allison. And and then Ian Furness and Brett Festerling. It's a top-notch broadcast team, and then the graphics, the production, and then you also have the radio people who Everett will do TV. Everett Fitzhugh will do TV when John is not available, like when he's doing Amazon broadcasts. And Everett and Al Kaniski, who do the radio broadcasts, are also outstanding. And so if you're at the arena, you can listen to them on the radio, on an app. And that is a way that I've consumed Kraken games at home, and then I listen to the TV broadcast when they're on the road, and you get the best of both worlds. And they're just fantastic. There are no bad options with the Kraken broadcast team. And then if you have ESPN Plus and you go and you watch other broadcasts, you're like, whoa, I did not realize how good we had it, because there are a lot of yahoos and a lot of people who they just don't have the same commitment to detail or attention, or have the same sort of love of quality that the Kraken broadcast team has. And to a person, John, JT, Edzo, Allison, Piper Shaw. I mean, how can I forget about Piper Shaw? She's a great sports journalist, and she asks questions that are designed to elicit meaningful answers out of players. During the intermissions, she'll ask questions, but she does so with a lot of intentionality. And so even though players are conditioned to give cliches, she really works hard and finds ways to extract at least little bits of information that aren't obvious. And it just adds a lot of texture and context to the game. And it is a joy to watch the game. And so even when the team isn't good, you still get an entertaining broadcast. You still get a informed broadcast. You get a broadcast that will make you smarter about hockey, and it's a lot of fun. And so that is the first pillar of how to enjoy Kraken games when the team isn't good, because there's still so much around the team that is. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about the game day experience and why that is also one of the absolute top tier experiences in all of hockey. As companies grow, customer support gets a lot more complicated, and more customers mean more questions, more channels to manage, and higher expectations for fast, personalized service. And that's usually when businesses start looking at AI. But most solutions feel either too generic or take forever to implement. And that's where Decagon comes in. Decagon helps companies create personalized, concierge-style customer experiences with AI agents across chat, email, voice, and SMS. Their agents are available 24/7, feel natural to talk to, and can resolve customer requests on their own, helping businesses scale support without losing that personal touch. The best customer experiences don't happen by accident. Whether it's in business or sports, people remember organizations that respond quickly, understand context, and make every interaction feel personal. One thing I notice about the organizations that earn long-term loyalty is that they never make you feel like just another number. Whether it's a quick response or a personalized interaction, those experiences stick with people and keep them coming back. And that's what stands out to me about Decagon. Their AI helps companies deliver that same personalized experience even as they scale. Ready to transform your customer support? Go to decagon.ai/LockedOnNHL to get a personalized demo and see what Decagon can do for your team. That's decagon.ai/LockedOnNHL. Throughout the NHL finals, every shift matters, every moment is intense, and everything comes down to execution where the pressure is highest. And if you are a bad goalie for Vegas who gives up the 4 goals in each of the first 5 starts of the Stanley Cup Finals, the first time that's ever happened in the history of the league, maybe you should have been benched for the goalie that won your team the cup 3 years ago. But as a hypothetical, but as athletes must be ready to perform when the puck drops, a lot of guys want that same sense of readiness and confidence in their own lives too, and that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet offers modern performance-focused treatments designed to help you be ready when it matters. Their top option, Rugiet Ready, is fast-acting, clinically formulated treatment that comes in a simple mint that dissolves under your tongue. It's designed for convenience with fast absorption and effects that can begin in about 15 minutes. It may last up to 36 hours. They also offer Go Long, which is formulated to support both performance and control for longer lasting needs. It's about helping guys feel prepared, confident, and in control. What stands out to me is not having to plan everything around timing. Something that works quickly and is easy to take really changes the mindset. It's more about confidence and being present in the moment. So head to rugiet.com/LockedOnNHL and get 15% off your ED treatment. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNHL for 15% off. Rugiet Performance Medicine for Men. Get your daily Locked On Kraken fix completely ad-free by joining the Everyday Club today. Start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to your team without the interruptions. Click the link in the show notes or go to lockedonpodcast.com/everyday to claim your free trial. So another way that you can enjoy the Kraken experience, even if you're not at the game, you can still pick up a lot of the stuff on TV, is the game day experience. Going to a Kraken game, going to a home Kraken game is awesome. It is so much fun. First of all, live hockey is the best iteration of live sports. I fully maintain that. I have, and that's not just me being like, oh, I'm a hockey fan, therefore hockey is better. I love many sports, but hockey is it's the best live. And even people who don't follow hockey, that seems to be the general opinion. Whenever I've taken friends who have never been to a hockey game to a Kraken game, they're like, oh, wow, this is great. I don't know if that would be true for, say, a football game or a baseball game. The second thing is that the Kraken have the game operations is top notch. The music, DJ side, puts a lot of thought and there's a lot of I'm going to use a word that I used last segment with Piper Shaw, intentionality. There's sometimes there are musical jokes, there are pop culture references and Easter eggs. I remember one of my favorite ones was it was the first game after the Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, that Oscars, and then it was like maybe the day after or 2 days after, and then there was a fight, a little scrum, and Hatch just plays the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme, and it just like caught me off guard, and it was so funny because I don't think it's ever been played at a Kraken game since or before. And it was clearly a reference to the hit, and it was a fight, and it was hilarious. And there are all these funny things. When they beat the Leafs, they played Hall & Oates' "You Make My Dreams Come True" this year, which was their goal song for a long time, and that was really fun. But there's just the music is good. The choices are interesting. It keeps the energy up. And if you listen to other broadcasts or go to other arenas, you might notice a more generic song selection. I know that I'm pretty sure the NHL has a playlist that they say, okay, well, you have to at least use like part of this, and then you can deviate some, but I'm not fully sure exactly what the parameters are there. But I know there are some guidelines set by the NHL. But then beyond that, a lot of teams are like, all right, we'll just play the same, 150 songs or 100 songs over the course of the year, and it's just the same stuff over and over again. And sure, you're going to hear a lot of the same songs at Kraken games, but there's also a lot more variety, and the songs are interesting, and some of them are obscure. And I really enjoy hearing and discovering new music. He played Fex's "Subway of Your Mind," which is like this like hidden lost song that nobody knew what it was for like a decade, and just neat things like that. You have the organist Benny Drawbars, who is like Hatch, also has a lot of different variety. He tries not to play the same song twice. He is easily, in my opinion, the best organist in the NHL, and I don't think it's close. I know some people really like the Blues or the Rangers organists, and they seem like perfectly nice people, but I think Benny really brings it. He brings it every night, and he has all of these really funny pre-selected choices that if you get, it's an organ, so you may not even recognize the song, but then if you do clock what he's playing and then realize that it's a reference to the team that they're playing against, or maybe their uniforms, or the day, or whatever it is. So like when they're playing their Abyss Black jerseys, like the first break, you heard Black Hole Sun, and like, oh, why is it playing that? Oh, that's why, right? And so there's just like little things like that, and things you can listen for, and you can identify. And then the goal song is, I think, the best in the NHL. It is a local artist, Nirvana. The song is unique. It's Lithium, which I would never have guessed as a goal song, but they make it work. It's got a very good crowd participation component. It is deeply Seattle. And that is the other thing, is when you go to a Kraken game, you know where you are. When I went to the 2022 Stanley Cup Finals in Colorado, it was, this was the Cup Finals, and the pre-game presentation was less than a regular season Kraken game. That could have happened, anywhere really. You're just like, oh, I'm in a hockey arena, and they're going to play a Cup Finals game, and yeah, there's some team markings on the stuff, so you have some idea who's playing. But there's not the deep buying into the cultural identity of the city the way that the Kraken do, with the salmon, the fish toss, and just a buoy, right? The referencing the troll under the bridge, and Ballard, and it's the colors, the abyss, the fact that you have to go down because the arena is dug 60 feet into the ground, and so you descend into you go down to the deep, you go down to the abyss. Just the imagery and the branding and the colors and the whole thing, it's all just this holistic thing of being like, hey, we are a Seattle team, we are a Seattle hockey team, and we're going to bring you Seattle hockey. And Ben, when you go, you just get this A+ experience. It is really just, even if when they don't win, you'll at least you had like there was like all of this other stuff to go with that is so entertaining. and so exciting. And then that way, the floor on going to a Kraken game is very high. And if you don't go, you still get little Easter eggs. Like, for example, when Edzo, he attached to Lionel Richie's All Night Long with Capo Caco, like Don Bolido se moi, hey Capo Caco. And so then, Capo Caco would score a goal, and then they would play All Night Long, but with Edzo's like voice dubbed over it, and sometimes you can hear that on the broadcast and stuff like that. So it's really, really cool. I really love going to Kraken games. And then also Climate Pledge Arena is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It is just an absolutely stunning arena. It's new, it's sparkling, and it is just one of the nicest buildings that I've ever been in. And the quality of the food, the whole experience it's just really nice. You're like, man, whenever I go to a Kraken game, I'm like, man, I'm really doing it. Like, we're really doing it. Like, Seattle they're figuring out hockey, and they figured out hockey. And that's something that I think a lot of cities don't do. And so that is the second pillar of how to enjoy the Kraken when they might not be that good. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about the third pillar, which is hockey itself, because hockey is awesome. If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all the sugar, and that's why the Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots treat your taste buds to an explosion of fruity flavor with a tasty caffeine kick. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I like it because it's a zero sugar treat that is sweet tooth approved, but it also has that nice little fruit punchy taste. I like how convenient it is. It's a small portable shot I can grab whenever I need a little pick-me-up, and it's become my go-to when I want something sweet without going overboard. So you can get your candy-flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Thank you for making Locked On Kraken part of your daily listening routine. It really does mean a lot to me. You know what else means a lot to me is hockey, because I love hockey. I love it. And it's something that, look, if you're in it for just the scoring, then you're probably going to be kind of bored, right? I mean, the average hockey game has about 5 goals scored per game. And that means that there's a lot of waiting in between scoring events. But there's a lot more to hockey, as we all know, than just scoring. And I think the thing that you can do is, the more you learn about the game, the more you see the details, and then the more you can appreciate this. And this is something that I'm constantly doing. I'm constantly learning. I'm trying to always get better. I'm trying to learn more about the game, trying to recognize more, trying to learn more about systems, partially so I can communicate them here, but partially is just my own curiosity, and I want to know more about this game, and learning is a lifelong experience, and you can always keep learning, and there's always things to discover. And so one of the things that I do, especially, like, let's say it's in the middle of the season or late in the season, and the Kraken have lost 6 in a row, and they're down 3-0 in the third, and and I'm like, well, how do I get past this? And one of the things that I do is I just pick a player or 2 players, and start with one, and just watch everything they do. Just every single shift, watch everything they do. Watch how they go in the corners, how they battle for the puck, the way they exit the zones, the way they enter the zone. Just learn everything. You just go really, really deeply investigating, a player. So, like, let's say Berkeley Catton, and you say, okay, well, he goes, and he needs to be stronger on the puck, and he's not a great finisher yet, and But then if you watch him intently, then you see like, oh, he's a really good playmaker, he's a really good distributor, and then you really appreciate the magnitude. I mean, we know that Berkeley Catton is a good playmaker, but you start digging into the actual minutia of it, and what comes out of that is an appreciation for hockey, just for hockey's sake. And it doesn't have to be about the scoring or even generating a shot on goal. There's just all of this process and all of this stuff that happens with the 12 players on the ice, that counting the goalies, that then generates like all the stuff that leads up to the goal, or all the stuff that leads up to the scoring chance, becomes much, much more interesting. And so one of the things you can do is you can just go on YouTube and you can watch tutorials. There's all sorts of levels of of experience. If you don't know anything about hockey, there's hockey 101 stuff. If you want to get real deep into this, there are coaching clinics. I know Emerald City Hockey, their Red Glare podcast, Dylan has been putting his systems videos. They used to be behind a Patreon, but now they're being they're free, and I think those are really, really good. We're gonna have Dylan on the show very soon, by the way, which I'm really excited about. And so this is how you survive a hockey season. And we're also going to have a Canucks fan on probably next week to talk about the draft, and the loyal Canucks fan who follows the team day in and day out. Why? Well, it's not because of the winning, because the Canucks are not winning. It's not because of the ownership, because Canucks do not have good ownership, not the way the Kraken do even. They're just kind of bad and a little aimless and not good ownership and not a lot of hope. But that team is well supported. Part of it is just the culture. The culture in Vancouver or across Canada is, hockey is a big deal. Kind of like when the Seahawks are bad, they still, Seahawks fans show up because football is a very, very, very big deal in the United States. As the World Cup travelers are learning, they're like, wait, you didn't build any stadiums for this event? You just had them? And they're like, yeah. That's some of our high school stadiums are, bigger than like a European Premier League stadium, like in Texas, for example. And so that's the thing. If you can go in, you can excavate the interest out of the game of hockey, then you can just learn so much more. And then when a player gets added, then you can say, okay, well, now how does this fit in to what's going on? And you start getting the permutations, you start seeing the matrix, and you just generate a deeper appreciation for this. And then now you can watch a 60-minute or a 3-hour hockey broadcast or 60 minutes of hockey, and you now have all of this rich stuff, this rich tapestry that you can draw from, and all of these things that don't have to do, even if it was a 1-0 game, but there are 50 things that you notice that were interesting in that game. Now that becomes a much more interesting experience, and then you just do that, and then eventually the teams, sports is cyclical, and so they'll go from being bad. At some point, the Kraken will be good, and once the Kraken are good, and when they will be good, and I have full confidence that they will be good again, or maybe for the first time. I don't know if good again is quite accurate, but they'll be in the playoffs again. And when they do, then have all of this experience, all this reps of watching Kraken hockey and watching all of the things that didn't work, and then also seeing the things that did work. And then you can put that all together and you get this really nice experience. And then you're like, you know what? Even though the Kraken lost, I had a good time. I got a lot out of that. And so that is the third pillar. So to recap, the broadcast, as good as it gets. The game day experience, as good as it gets. In hockey, as good as it gets. You focus on those things, That's a good start. It's not everything. There's some things that I've left out because, we only have 30 minutes a day. And I could have done a fourth segment or even a fifth segment. Ooh, what could those be? The mystery. We'll have to talk about those on a future episode. But that does it for this episode. So thank you for tuning in to Locked on Kraken. We will be back tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe and follow us so you get all the latest episodes. You can find us at David Jones LR on all social media platforms or at davidjoneslockerroom.com, where we do print coverage of the Seattle Torrent and the Seattle Kraken. If you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Get Locked on Kraken ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonpodcast.com/everyday to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you over to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure this is one of your 2 daily listens for David Jones Locker Room. I'm Zane Begg, and I will see you tomorrow.